What's up out there, everybody? Welcome to the second segment of the ShakeBack Sports Show right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. It's your boy, Willie Epting Jr. holding it down. Happy New Year out there to everybody. I'm so glad to see you out there in 2023, May 2023. Be the best year yet for you and your family and all of those that are connected to you. We talked about Damar Hamlin in the first segment, and we're going to get to that, a little bit more of that here in the second segment after we pay these bills. Before we do that, though, thank you guys out there for checking us out on Facebook, for my personal Facebook page, as well as the BGC Sports Network's Facebook page and the ShakeBack Media Group's Facebook page, as well as LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram TV. And of course, Twitter. Make sure you guys go out there and smash the subscribe button on all platforms. We really would appreciate it. And also hit that bell for all new content. Before we move any further, though, this second segment, it is being brought to you by TJ's Catfish and Wings. You don't know good eating until you've been to TJ's Catfish and Wings 46 or 4261 Green Oaks Boulevard, Suite 506 in Arlington, Texas, with an all-new menu with boneless tenders, fresh salads, sub sandwiches, brisket, delicious fried shrimp, multiple flavored buffalo wings, of course, motley drink specials or mixtures, lunch specials, kids meals, yummy desserts, and of course, their world famous catfish. You can call by ordering, or you can order by calling 817-572-1600. Again, 817-572-1600. Or go to TJ's Catfish and Wings 1.com. Stop on by, y'all, for a new atmosphere, a new look, a new menu. Same address, same 4.5-star service. TJ's Catfish and Wings, 4261 Green Oaks Boulevard, Suite 506, over there in Agtown. Tell your boy, or tell Travis that your boy from the ShakeBack Media Group, the ShakeBack Sports Show, and the Big Game Christian Sports Network told you to holler at them so y'all can set it off on your hunger pains. Okay, so again, we were discussing safety, Damar Hamlin, and the progress that has been made from his cardiac arrest event that took place on Monday Night Football in Cincinnati during the game between the Bengals and the Bills. And I had said in the second segment that I had a call in from Coach Michael Hunter Jr., who is the assistant coach for DBs at Oklahoma State University and is he's a 4, maybe 5-year veteran of the National Football League and actually spent a little time with the Buffalo Bills. So I asked him a few questions about the whole situation in Buffalo, and here is what Coach Scoot had to say.
Yes, I was watching it live, and man, my first thoughts was just please be okay, man. It was scary when any situation when you see somebody collapse, but especially in a primetime setting like that, playing a game, because at the end of the day, it is a game, and that's the worst nightmare as a teammate, a coach, a parent, to see someone that you love ultimately unconscious and not knowing their fate. As an ex-player at that level, honestly, I've never experienced anything of that magnitude. Obviously, I've had game stoppage due to orthopedic injuries, subtle concussions, but nothing that serious. So that's something I've never experienced and never hoped to, honestly. And last night was a great example of really that's all we can do as teammates, coaches, staff members. When something as tragic as that occurs, is just be there for that young man in prayer. Stand by his side, band his brothers, and let the world know and let his family know that it's bigger than football.
That's the thing right there. Band together, show his family, and that they're brothers. And when he said that, and of course, all of this was before we found out on Friday that Damar was able to talk to his teammates via FaceTime. And that, I mean, again, it's just very chilling. So our continued hopes, well wishes, thoughts, and prayers go to Damar and his family. And let's just give a shout out to a couple entities, if we will, to include the University of Cincinnati, their EMTs, the Buffalo Bills, and the Cincinnati Bengals training staffs. Let's give a shout out to those that were out there on the field praying for that young man, and for those responders that were out there giving him CPR. And then let's give a shout out, of course, to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who without him, any of this would be possible. So, DeMar, you keep on getting well, brother. We pulling for you, and we hope to see you back on your feet real soon. Okay, so let's go to the events now on the football field. The NFL has come out, of course, on Friday, and well, actually, they came out on, I think it was on Thursday, and they said that that game will not be resumed, and that it basically will just go as a no contest. So Buffalo and Cincinnati will only have 16 games on the schedule, whereas everyone else will have, of course, the 17 games. So whatever record the the Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills finish with, either 12-4, 11-5, 10-6, or whatever the case may be, that is what it's going to be in terms of that. So what does that mean for the playoffs? Well, let's actually just get to the schedule, because there are some very, very, very meaningful games out there that still are very prevalent into what's going to happen in terms of the seedings in the playoff, particularly in the AFC. So let's begin there. Las Vegas Raiders will be playing home to the Kansas City Chiefs. I hate them. The Raiders have benched, of course, Derek Carr and sent him home for the last 2 games of the year. Obviously, they're going to try to trade him. I don't believe they're going to get a trade partner for him, knowing that if they release him before January 15th, then he has to clear waivers, and then that's it. Jacksonville and Tennessee, they will be playing, in essence, for the whole bottle of wax in the America or AFC South. I almost said American League South. There's no such thing as that. Jacksonville is at home. Tennessee has been a little bit of a whirlwind. I think they've lost like 5 or 6 in a row. So that's a huge game that's going to settle the division in the AFC South. New England, they will be going to Buffalo. This is a huge game for Buffalo and for New England, for that matter, because if New England wins, they get in. If Buffalo wins, they're still in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed, having already beaten Kansas City. They would need Kansas City to lose to the Raiders in order for them to get the home field. But, no, I'm sorry, they wouldn't get the home field. We're going to talk about that in a second. If Kansas City beats the Raiders and the Buffalo Bills beat New England, and Kansas City wins and Cincinnati beats Baltimore on Sunday, it's a mess. It is a tremendous mess. So let's go right there, because the owners approved the adjustment of the playoffs for the AFC to include potential neutral sites. So let's go there. Okay, so this is what the resolution consists of. The AFC Championship game will be played at a neutral site if Buffalo, who's 12-3, and Kansas City, who's 13-3, if they both win or tie in Week 18, both teams advance to the AFC title game. Okay, that will be played on a neutral site that has not yet been determined. Buffalo and Kansas City, if they both lose and Cincinnati loses or ties, Buffalo and Kansas City advance to the AFC title game. That game will be played on a neutral site. And then Buffalo and Kansas City both lose and Cincinnati wins, in the AFC game, title game is either the Bills and Chiefs or the Bengals and Chiefs. That will be played at a neutral site. So, in essence, it does not appear as though Buffalo, if they get the top seed, or if the Cincinnati Bengals somehow get the top seed, which I don't think they'll be able to. Well, they may, because it'll depend on winning percentage between the Bengals and the Chiefs. But if the Chiefs lose, that will have the Bengals more than likely with a higher percentage of higher winning percentage. We don't know that as of yet. But based on this, it would appear as though the AFC title game will not be held in either Buffalo or Cincinnati. If they're involved in it, it will be held in Kansas City. If Kansas City is involved in it and they win against the Raiders on Saturday. So here's another example, or another scenario. If the Ravens defeat Cincinnati in Week 18 and the Chargers beat the Broncos, and if Baltimore and Cincinnati are scheduled to play a wild card game against one another, the site for that game will be determined by a coin flip. Simply because of this: If the Ravens beat the Bengals, they would have beaten them both times in the regular season. But it will be a coin flip due to the winning percentage. So in that case, it's really, really going to be a 50-50 proposition in terms of what happens if a wild card game is played between the Bengals and the Ravens. And guess what? They play each other in week 18. So this is very possible that they could come back and play each other in the first round of the playoffs, either in Cincinnati or in Baltimore. Real tricky stuff there. Also, let's talk about Pittsburgh for a second, because the Pittsburgh Steelers, who for all intents and purposes were like a fish belly up in a fish tank, because we didn't know what was going on with them. They had lost TJ Watt for time earlier in the year. Okay. They had quarterback issues with Pickett and Trubisky and Pickett. Finally, Pickett emerges as the starter, and then he had a concussion, I believe it was in maybe week 14 or 15. So Trubisky had to come back in. He was terrible. And now the Pittsburgh Steelers, under Mike Tomlin, who has never had a losing season while in Pittsburgh, has a chance to continue that streak, but not only continue that streak, ladies and gentlemen, get the Steelers into the playoffs. That would be remarkable, and I'm actually rooting for that because I have no more horses in the race. I had latched on to Miami, but Miami is looking like they're not going to make it because Tua is going to be out. Teddy Bridgewater may be out. They may have to go with Skylar Thompson, and they face a Jets team that who knows which Jets team is going to show up. So let's go to the Giants and Philadelphia. Now, the Giants are locked into that seed, the 7th seed or the 6th seed. They're locked into that. They can't go higher or lower with a win or a loss during this game. And of course, Philadelphia coming off of 2 straight losses, and now they have the Dallas Cowboys nipping at their heels. They need this win to not only get the number 1 seed, but to win the division. Otherwise, they will be in a wild card game and they will have to go to Tampa. As it stands, as of tape time, if the games were already completed with the same results, then that still has Dallas going to Tampa in the wild card round. And I'm pretty sure Cowboy fans, they say they want that smoke from Tom Brady, but Tom Brady is 9-0 against against the Cowboys in his career. So with that being said, so let's continue on. The Chargers, we just talked about them for a second ago. How about the Sunday night contest in Detroit and Green Bay, live from the frozen tundra at Lambeau Field? I have some sound that I'm going to play in the third segment from a longtime lover of the Detroit Lions. I will bring that on in the third segment. But let's talk about this in a nutshell. The Detroit Lions win and they're in. The Green Bay Packers win and they're likely in. They may need some help from the Rams to beat Seattle. I'm not exactly sure about the tiebreakers there, but they both essentially hold. They both, if either one of these two teams win, they're in. They're going to be in. So they'll be the 7th seed, and Washington.
1 sec.
Siri?
I didn't get that.
Oh.
Could you try again?
Stop, Siri. We didn't ask you for anything, Siri. Stop. Siri's still talking, y'all. Okay, so anyway, they don't want that smoke, and then of course the 7th seed will be either Green Bay or Detroit. The 6th seed will be probably it will be the Giants, and the 5th seed will be either the Cowboys or the Eagles, depending on what happens. And San Francisco still has a shot at the number 1 seed as well. Out of Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Dallas. And actually, Minnesota still has a shot at the 1 seed too, but they're going to need some major help because they got beat down by the Cowboys in week, whatever it was, 9, 10, 11, somewhere up in there. So they have an outside shot at it, but I don't see it really happening for them. But so what I was going to say is, out of the San Francisco 49ers, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that needs the number 1 seed the most of those 3 franchises, in my opinion, in this order, I would say Dallas, Philly, and then San Fran in reverse order, rather. So San Fran needs the home field advantage the least. And I think the Cowboys need it the most. And Philly's just kind of in there because they have the style of offense that can beat mostly every team. Okay, their running game is stout with those three-headed monsters that they have back there. And Jalen Hurts is scheduled to play on Sunday. His shoulder seems to be doing remarkably well, reasonably well for him to be able to get back in there. So it's crazy in terms of how this is played out. I mean, some teams that we thought wouldn't be here are here, such as Detroit. And then, of course, you have the Vegas Raiders, who I thought would be here, but they're not. But they can still spoil some things for the most hated rival that they have in the division by beating the Kansas City Chiefs and really punching a hole in their hopes of getting a number one seed. That would be like a Super Bowl win for us and something that you can definitely take into going into the offseason. So it's here we are. And I'm like this. If there's a way that chaos can prevail, I'm rooting for it. But let me say this though, because I've already said it so far in this segment. There's a couple things that I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals at this point in time. And my co-host of A Show Divided, Tisha C, has told me that she wants me to be a fan of any team other than the Kansas City Chiefs because of the fact that every team I root for falls on hard times. It's happened with the Raiders. It's happened with the Dolphins. So I said I'm going to latch on to the Cincinnati Bengals. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ride the Bengal Tiger to the finish line. So Tampa Bay, they've already clinched the NFC South. They're locked into the 4th seed because even though they could possibly have a losing record going into the postseason, they could finish 8-9 because they have won the putrid NFC South. That is what will force Dallas to head to Southwest Florida or West Florida or whatever direction that is, because it's kind of like in the middle, but it's also on the West Coast. That will force the Cowboys to have to make a trip to Tampa again. And we know what happened the last time they were there. We know what happened the last time these two teams played each other. I understand it's a different Buccaneers team, especially on defense with no ShakeBack, who was out for the year starting back in week 6, I think it was. And the Cowboys, yeah, their defense can get after the passer, but they haven't been getting home as much lately. So we will see if that is actually the matchup. Who's going to be favored? Who are you going to pick? We'll see. All right, that's going to do it for the second segment of the ShakeBack Sports Show right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. I got some sound I want to bring in regard to the Detroit Lions because they're in a position to do something they haven't done in quite a long time. So y'all make sure y'all come on back on the other side of the break. Willie Epstein Jr., ShakeBack Sports Show, Big Game Christian Sports Network. Man, y'all come on back and holler at us.